Welcome to Donut Donny's Retro channel. Today we are looking at another retro classic. Another way of keeping updated of what's been released on my YouTube channel, what games I'm looking at, if I think they're brilliant, if they don't think they're brilliant, is obviously my X account, or as most people still call it, the Twitter account. If you go and search for Donut Donny, there's only one of me around, then you will find me and then send me a follow, and then this will keep you regularly updated what's been posted. Even though the main place really to look at is the YouTube channel here, I do post links to my YouTube videos and it's definitely worth looking at. And obviously make comments on here and I will comment back, and it will be great to hear from you. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Retro series where we look at the moment classic football games from the early 80s to the 90s and then beyond. Now, I told you last week and probably the week before that we're near the end of the series. Since then, with a lot of research, I've actually found some more games to look at. What we'll be doing in a few episodes' time, we'll be having a series called Brief Look. Brief Look means we'd be looking briefly at a couple of games that don't really deserve their own episodes together. If they did have their own episode, it'll probably only be about 5 minutes anyway, because these are games that don't really work well nowadays or just are too simple to look at for various reasons. But that's something to look forward to in the future. Today we're looking at one of the first of the Gary Lineker games that he did in the 80s. Gary, for those who don't know, for those who are not English, I suppose, uh, Gary Lineker was one of our top strikers in the 80s. He won the World Cup Golden Boot Award in the 1986 World Cup in Mexico when England got up to the quarterfinals, losing eventually to Argentina, who eventually went on to win the World Cup, Maradona. And then he scored a couple of goals in the 1990 World Cup. He ended up finishing with, I think, 48 or 49 goals, which was one behind the English record at that time, which was held by Bobby Charlton at 50. Since then, that's got broken twice by Wayne Rooney first, and then Harry Kane, of course, is now easily beaten it. He's on 63, I think, now. But anyway, in the 80s, it was Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker nowadays is a TV commentator and presenter, earning loads of money. But anyway, this is the first game which, out of the three he did that I've got, this is the only one that's going to have its own episode completely together. The other two will be mentioned in a brief look series, because basically they're not worth an episode, to be honest. But anyway, this one kind of is, because I can remember playing this when I was a lot younger. I did remember having this game. Um, and it's quite a unique game, actually, looking at it. Of course, it's called Superstar Soccer. It was done in 1987 by Gremlin Graphics, a big company in those days. Created by three guys, Chris Kelly, Colin Dooley, and Marco Durio. It was on the 38K. It was a full price game at $7.99. Also on the plus 3, because it's got disc price there, at $14.99. It was also available on the Amstrad, Commodore, and MSX. The ratings wasn't very good, and we will look at a couple of sites in a minute just to prove that. But on this Spectrum Computing site, you can get various versions of this game if you ever want to play it yourselves. It was re-released a couple of times as well. Here's the screenshots and everything I normally look at to get all this information, and there we go, there's the full price inlay and there's the budget inlay. So it was released as a budget later on, I think about 2-3 years later. And the reviews we will look at the review when it first came out and then review when it came out as a budget game. So we'll look at Crash Magazine first when it came out as a full price game, and this is what they said. This came out exactly the same time as Match Day 2, which kind of hindered it a lot because Match Day 2 was a much better game than this. So basically, we say here this gives the player dual aspects of management and role playing action, but approaches them quite difficultly. This game is structured into 4 divisions of 16 teams, with the players' team starting in the fourth both league and cup games. Any of the 4 division tables can be examined. When the player starts a match, this is when it is quite different to quite a lot of these other games that came out. And I haven't really seen it much in games that I've seen on the series so far, is that you can either be just a manager, you can be the manager and a player, and I must stress, just a player, or you can let the computer do it. What I mean by just a player is that in this game you only control one player out of the whole 11, and that is the striker, which makes perfect sense because Gary Lineker was, of course, a striker. Um, or you can let the computer work out the result. So you can actually watch the game and just become the coach, a bit like Football Director 2, or you can watch the game and be a player, a bit like Match Day, or you can be watch the game, be the coach and the player manager basically. And it says here, the player only has one footballer to control for the whole match. The computer follows the action on the ball, which means that the player's centre can be a long way off screen. Yeah, it can be quite confusing. I didn't realise when I played this an hour or so ago that you only had one player on the pitch, so I was moving my character around in the defence, thinking why I wasn't having no control, and then I went into the instructions and realised that you can only control the striker, and that made perfect sense. Um, it didn't get very good reviews though. Here's what else it said here. The player has the ball. He can either pass by holding the joystick towards a player, tapping a button, or shoot or by holding down a button. Nick said, what happened to the software industry? There are more football games on the market than had hot dinners. Unfortunately, Gary Lineker Superstar Soccer holds nothing new. The game isn't very laid out, and the options menu is cluttered. Yeah, there's a lot on the screen. The playing screen isn't any better. Poorly animated players. Yep, I totally agree. Difficult to see footballs running around a pitch. Again, totally agree there. You don't know which side you are on. A lot of the opposition, when you see the opposition strip, it's just black and white, and you're black and white as well. Quite difficult to tell them apart. And BYM says here, not having control of the whole team is strange. You can't even tell which player's under control, making action hard to follow. Yeah, definitely you can't. It's funny, you can't even, it doesn't even highlight the player that you're controlling. You just have to guess most of the time. And he only gave it 33% because this came out exactly the same time as Match Day 2. So we'll look at another review, your Sinclair, that one. Bit bigger screen here for you guys to look at. So since Matchday is generally considered the best example of football playing, there's been considerable pre-launch interest in the follow-up to Matchday 2. Yep, there's Matchday 2. Actually, I'm reading Matchday 2's review. Oops, there's the one that I'm meant to be reading. Gary Lineker Superstar Soccer attempts to combine building up a skillful team of actually playing the game, two Johns in one game, with you trading and recruiting players, yep, just like a manager. With the fixtures, you can choose whether to control your centre forward, goalie, either or neither. Also check, yeah, you can actually select the goalie if you want to be. I forgot about that. So you can select the goalie or the striker. Also check match ball length. The joystick keyboard controls for pass and shooting generally stay in match are unnecessary, cumbersome, and frequently do not translate the ball movements that are intended. Yep. To pass, the 8 joystick directions represent your teammate's position rather than exact position you wish to pass to. And appears to make little difference anyway, since your colleagues who often just stand there and watch the ball float past. Yes, they do. Frankly, it doesn't appear to matter. Again, he says here, seldom Division 2 to Division 4 without straight seasons, without even feeling mastered playing the controls. So, how much did this one get? This one got 6. Funny enough, Matchday 2 only got 7 in this review. There's the players there. You can see, look, this is the player strips. It's very hard to distinguish if you which side you're on. You can see here, here's your team, and here is the opposition team. Not much difference there. So, and then it was released a couple of years later as a budget. And I got this review because we will be looking at all these other games in future episodes as well. So Superstar Soccer here only got 50%. This is now 1992, and yeah, I can totally understand that. So Gary Lineker's Hotshot and Gary Lineker's Super Skills are the other 2 games we'll be looking at, but they will be both clunked together in their own episode because they're not worthy of an episode each. If they did have an episode each, it would be only about 4 minutes long. And then also Italy 1990 is another game that we will be looking at soon, I think. And yeah, I didn't like that one either. So anyway, you guys want to see the game, so let's go and see the game briefly. So we will load up. It's already been loaded up. I've managed to find out what the keys are, and here is what they said about how cluttered the menu system is. Now the keys are quite strange. It's OK, O and the K key, and then 0 is the fire key. So quite weird this. So look, you've got a number of options here. You've got league status, which comes up on that screen top there. And then you've got team history, which comes in there. So you get plenty of options. Funny enough, I don't think you can change the team name because I think you play as Holford, which is a strange name. Game scores, which is nothing. Divisions, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, Division 4. So each league has 16 sides, so it's quite a big database of teams here. Load save is obvious. Recruit a player, trade a player, improved team. Let's see, how much do you wish to spend in training? Oops. Let's see if this works. Is it going to let me? Oh, there we go. So you can spend up to, oh my God, random number here. Let's do 50. Team is in training. I don't know what 50 is. Is that 50 weeks, 50 hours? Could be anything. And it didn't even tell me what actually happened. Set up team. So here's the team that you've got. As you can see, there's no real skill names. There's just names. You're playing Coleman, and then also if you want to be goalie, you'll play Paperman, and then you can change all these up. So I think the teams on the left are the I think other players that you've got. So if you want to put Curry instead of Coleman, you can just I think you press fire and then move, and then select who you want Curry in, and then it should let me swap it. It's not letting me do anything actually. Okay, I'm pressing fire key and nothing's happening. This is sometimes happens with these games. Sometimes when you try to press the right keys, it's just not letting you do it. So I can't get out of this screen, sadly. I am pressing everything you can think of to press here, and the computer is just not letting me move over to the other side. Yeah, this is the problem with LMS games, is that it just does not let you do it. So quickly load that up again. So we won't go back there. What we do is set up team. We've done that, right? New league, you can select your own league, I suppose, but we'll go view and I'll show you what the game looks like briefly. So here's the next game. So you've got game speed. Here's the center. Here's the coach. So I'm just going to be, I have played this game. I'm not too bad at playing this, but most of the time I'm just chasing the ball. So I'm going to I'm going to be the coach, and we're going to just watch the speed. Game speed, let's turn up the game speed a little bit faster to 5 times normal speed, and I'll just let you see a game, play a game. So here, as I'm the coach, I can make some decisions here. So very basic though. So attacking strategy, shoot, defensive strategy, cover, substitutions, none, continue play, and there we go. Now there is not much sound whatsoever. We are the team on the left with the white shorts. They are the team with the black shorts and black socks, and that's the only difference you've got. So I'm letting the computer be our players, and you can see that the AI is not very good. For instance, that pass, we actually had the ball there, and the guy decided to do a back kick and nearly, oh geez, this is even worse. Yeah, I would probably do a little bit better than my players here, but it looks like they've got the skill of a very low league Sunday league game here. Like this is, they're just kicking the ball up the field, below the field, and that's it. And this is 5 times the speed as well. A bit of a, he's actually running with the ball. This is a right from the defense as well. Is he still running with the ball? Yes, he is. Oh my God. And yep, he's left the defense wide open there. Yeah, and it's only the continuing beep. So obviously every time the ball goes out, I decide, but only a minute of the game has gone. This is 5 times the speed as well. Can you imagine what normal speed is? That would be an actual 45 minutes real time playing this game. This is 5 times the speed, and it does not feel like 5 times the speed because it's only gone for a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up because thankfully we can do that to 8 times the real speed. So here we go. So this is 8 times the speed, which is maybe, no, 8 times the speed is still not that fast. So I'll go back to normal speed just to show you again, but I think this is one of the rare games which we won't actually see much more of this. Obviously there's a trade screen. Oh, he's going to shoot from here. That's yeah, there we go. And he shoots just wide. So if you were the player, you can control the player, obviously. If so, I control the striker only, and also the goalie only if I wanted to. But I did pretty well on this when I was much younger. But looking back at this now, some 30, 40 years later, I can see why it didn't do very well in the reviews. Like this match screen is can be very confusing. For instance, you can't change the strip, you can't change the pitch color, and this came out and it clearly suffered the same time as Match Day 2, which sold a lot more. Yeah, being the coach is a bit annoying. The menu screen is very cluttered. At least there's quite a bit going on in the game, though. You can, trade players, which we won't look into. It's just a simple swap this player with this player. And the team that you've got is just names and positions, and that's it. There's nothing more to it. Oh, that's a shot. Um, but even on, let me go. Let's go. Let's go. I'll never go 10 times fast, but that's 15 times the speed. Even 15 times the speed, this game is going to still take a good while to finish. And yeah, this is one of the fastest speeds we've seen in the game before. So let's slow this down again for you guys. So we can just go back to 4 times the speed. Um, so let's do. Oh, there's a goal. We've actually had a goal, and there was a little bit of sound there for the goal. Oh dear! And then they scored straight away from looks like from the halfway line. So within 2 minutes, it's been 1-1. Um, so let's give our summary about this. It's it's okay. I think it's not a brilliant game. I can see what it's tied in with Gary Lineker. Oh, 2-1. Um, it's quite unique that you could be only one player on the pitch, the goalie or the striker, or in some cases you can be both. But that makes the game quite boring at times or frustrating because, especially when your defense are being awful and you can't do anything about it because you're up on being a striker. Oh, God, did the player just did a throwing to the goalie and it nearly went in? Um, the AI is ridiculous in this. It looks like they're just all going for the ball at the same time, leaving massive spaces in defence. Um, yeah, what can we say? It's not the best of games. Let's pause it. So overall, then, not the best of games. There's a lot going on. Again, it's unique that you can be controlling one player on the pitch, but that makes it there could be a drawback to that as well. For a full price game, I'd be slightly disappointed by this. The player representation on the pitch is awful. Um, the animation is all right actually, but because it's very hard to tell which is who on your side and which is not on your side, it can be quite confusing. Obviously, there's not much color clash because there's not much color. That's one way of getting rid of the color clash, I suppose. But yeah, let me know what you think of Gary Lineker Superstar Soccer. Overall, it's not the best, is it? And If you like this video, please put a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please do. We're doing pretty well in this series so far, and I'm having a lot of fun playing these games, even the bad ones. And just be nice to hear from you guys what you think about this as well. And yeah, that's the end of this episode. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. What are your thoughts about this game? Please let me know in the comments. Many thanks for watching this video. Greatly appreciated. If you like this channel, please send me a like or subscribe.